Hi, welcome to Astro Babble. I'm Donna from Donna B Astrology.
And I'm Lynda from Scullywag Astrology.
And today we are talking about the new moon in Scorpio, which is happening at 20 degrees, 44 minutes of Scorpio. If you have any planets there, this will be right on top of you. You probably will feel this a little bit more stronger than the other people. We'll be going through the horoscopes and then the aspects.
And do you have some information about the moon mansion?
The moon mansion, I do. It's the 18th moon mansion, and it is called the Heart of the Scorpion. It has according to Ptolemy, it has the flavor of Mars and Jupiter. So that's where we'll see Jupiter this month or this fortnight. It is the indicator star is Antares. So that's where you'll find it. It's good for vengeance against enemies. It's good for building strong buildings. It's good to free captives. So maybe some hostages might get some released. We can cross our fingers. Hopefully, they've already been released by the time this comes out. And it's also good for separating friendships.
Ooh.
This mansion is meant to give a warning for okay, I'm reading this from The Mansions of the Moon from Christopher Warnock, and it says this mansion may warn of impending dangers. We benefit from its ominous message by acting to put ourselves in protective mode. That is the mansion. So,
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, it is in Scorpio, so you'll get that. And protective mode does sound very Scorpio-like. So, interesting. Interesting that Jupiter is opposite this new moon in Scorpio too, and you say that it's the nature of Mars and Jupiter, or the book says it's of the nature of Mars and Jupiter. Venus can't help. It's in Libra, in the sign next to Scorpio, so it's an inversion. Kind of can't see it, which is a shame. Its ruler Mars is with the new moon, though. It's kind of helpful, but Mars is a malefic. Saturn is trine the new moon, so it's trine by sign.
And Mars is opposing by sign to Jupiter, so there is that. That's where the energy would be there no matter, even if they weren't there. If this is just based on where the moon is, so. But yeah, it's not funny, but it's startling that Jupiter is right there across from Mars and that new moon. So
yeah,
definitely is trying to expand something.
yeah,
And Mars, it has rulership right there in that sign, so it's going to be super strong, and it's going to do what it wants to do. And opposing Uranus is
that's
could be
the
shocking.
that's the like oh my section of the new moon, because like Donna said, the moon is at the new moon will be at 20 degrees of Scorpio. Mars is at 22 degrees of Scorpio, and Uranus is opposite them at 21 degrees of Taurus. Maybe some surprising news that kind of begets new ideas, new plans. I'm just thinking about that moon mansion, though. Some of those plans might be a little bit dicey. What was it? Severing friendships and
Yes.
But there was some good things in there too, freeing captives. What was the other one? I think something about
Freeing
building
captives and building strong buildings.
building a fortress.
Yeah.
Well, shall we have a look at the horoscopes for this?
That sounds great.
And of course, Donna and I recommend that you listen or read to your ascendant sign when you're listening or reading horoscopes. If you don't understand why, we've done a video all about that, and I'll put a link to that in the description. And, when we are discussing the horoscopes, we often talk about this is happening in your first house or your seventh house or whichever natal house it's in. When we did that ascendant video, we also went through and described what was happening and what the different natal houses represented in a person's life. So if that's something that you're interested in, certainly give that a check as well. And without any further ado, Donna, take it away.
Okay. This is for Scorpio rising sign. This is going to be this new moon is going to be happening in your first house. This is the house of yourself. This is the house of, if you are interested in doing anything about maybe getting a wardrobe or doing anything for yourself. This is a change that you're starting on you personally, and this is going to be happening in your first house. So this is the energy that you have, and you have Mars to do it. So if it's a big thing, you have that extra energy right there with it. It could be a little surprising with the Uranus right across to be happening right on like my son. So
Oh,
this is just a couple of days. My son is like just a couple of degrees one way or the other. So yeah, it's going to have that Mars energy. It's also going to have that Uranus energy. So things will be surprising and shocking. And it's meant to do that.
New beginnings.
It is meant to get you to grow.
And if you are a Libra ascendant, this new moon is happening in your second house. The second house is our income and finances. It's our personal possessions and resources. So new beginnings, new starts to do with those topics. So it could be you're starting a new job. You're maybe doing something on the side to increase your personal income. It could be something as simple as drawing up a budget, which actually with Mars, because Mars is a planet that likes to sever, and it is opposite Jupiter, who does like to go to excess, that could be quite appropriate for this new moon. You also have Uranus in the 8th house opposite, which is other people's money. So maybe for whatever reason, whether that's to do with a bank, partner, business partner, romantic partner, or just, taxes, insurances, maybe you get like a little windfall and, you think, oh, I'm going to do something good with this. I'm going to invest it or something. Or it could be, go the other way. It could be like, bang, here's this huge bill and now you've got to cut personal spending, or you've got to take on that extra job or do something similar. But for whatever reason, new plans, new starts, new beginnings to do with your personal finances, your income, personal possessions, and resources.
At least you have some help there for that budget. And if you are a Virgo rising, this is going to be happening in your third house. The third house is the house of your local community, your brothers and sisters. It could even be your aunts, uncles, and cousins. It's extended family, but it's your family that you were kind of raised with. This also could have to do with early education, as well as maybe even your car. It's where you would go in your car. So it has to do with those kinds of things. These are new things that are happening. So could be surprising. So, preventative maintenance on your car might be helpful if you are a Virgo rising. Remember, because the mansion said to take protective action. So
That's a good point.
be helpful.
And if you are a Leo ascendant, this new moon is happening in your 4th house. The 4th house concerns our family, most particularly our parents. It's also our home and living situation. It's real estate matters and ancestry, heritage. It's quite a private house, even though it's an angular house. So, yeah, there's new starts, new beginnings to do with that. Might not have anything to do with you. It might be your parents that are starting out on something new or planting the seeds for some new venture. There is Uranus and Jupiter up in the 10th house of your career and public reputation. So that might be tied in somehow too. But generally speaking, new starts, new beginnings. It could be somebody new coming into the family. It could be, moving, to a new place. Yeah, new starts.
And if you are a Cancer rising, this is going to be happening in your fifth house. The fifth house is the happy house. It's the house of that Venus has her joy in. But this is the house of creativity, art. It's the house that you would, get in. This is where your inspiration comes from. Is the house of creativity, the fifth house. It's also if you were going to go see a concert, this might be, I like you were getting tickets for a concert, or you're starting something new. Maybe family planning if you are a Cancer rising. I don't know. Those are the types of things. It has to do with the things that you create. So whether it's art or for fun.
If you are a Gemini ascendant, this new moon is happening in your sixth house. The sixth house is the house of illness, service to others, employees, those that work for you, and pets. So this could be a new pet, particularly a dog, because we've got Mars there. Mars does tend to be more canine than feline, or whatever type of pet you might get. But, it doesn't mean it has to be a dog, but, it wouldn't be unusual. This is also the house of our people that work for, the public good. This is doctors, nurses, first responders. So this could be, maybe somebody's just entering university to start studying to become a doctor or a nurse or a paramedic, or maybe they're entering the academy to, become a fire person or a police person. Unfortunately, it could also be the start of a new illness. You do have Mars there. It's a Martian sign. Scorpio is ruled by Mars traditionally. Wouldn't be surprising if it was some sort of kind of inflammatory issue that was the problem there, but not always. You do have Uranus and Jupiter in the 12th house of your undoing, and also hidden illnesses. So yeah, maybe there's niggling little things that are causing issues. Maybe this is going to come as a complete surprise to you. Maybe you've felt a certain way and just assumed it was, normal part of aging or something. And maybe you discover, no, it's this, and take that, and, hopefully it'll change. But, yeah, I don't know if I should have said that. But,
Oh, it's good. It's good wording. I mean, the mansion did say this is to put yourself in protective mode, and with that Uranus directly opposite that was a really good call there, Lynda.
Yeah, so maybe it's a surprising diagnosis, or even a surprising repercussion for something that you've been doing. Maybe you didn't realize by doing A, it's going to have this knock-on effect with your health, perhaps. So like eating too many carrots and turning orange, or and that does happen. You got to eat a lot of them,
Yes,
though,
it does.
apparently. So
It does.
I'm a font of useless information.
Well, no, it's very useful. I know somebody who has taken their kid to a doctor because their feet have turned orange.
Oh, really?
So yeah. So if you're a Taurus rising, this is going to be happening in your seventh house. This is the house of the other. This is the house of, you're going to be starting new things with like one other person that is committed to your relationship. So it could be even a doctor or a hairdresser, dentist, could be a significant other as well. But this is where you're going to be starting the new things with like one other person, which is great.
Nice.
If you are a Taurus rising.
Yeah, and our Taurus risings might seem a little bit unusual. Just a little bit eccentric with Uranus in the first house. Mind you, they've had Uranus in the first house for years now, so people should be used to it.
Oh, yes. But it is but that moon is definitely hitting it, so that's a good one.
Yeah. And if you are an
Ooh,
Aries
shocking stuff.
And if you are an Aries ascendant, this new moon will be happening in your eighth house. The eighth house has to do with other people's money. It's shared finances. It is also things like death and mortality. So this could include things like inheritances. Yeah, it's also things like taxes, insurances, yeah, loans, debts. So yeah, we've got new starts, new beginnings to do with shared finances and resources. In your second house of your personal finances, your money, your possessions, your resources, you have Uranus, which you've had there for quite a long time, but you've also got Jupiter, which is called the greater benefic, does tend to bring nice things sometimes. So yeah, maybe you've had a little bit of windfall, maybe you're going to invest it, that would be applicable, or, yeah. So new starts, new beginnings to do with shared finances and resources. And that could be as simple as going into business with someone, pooling your resources with a partner, business or romantic, or it could even be, you're, separated from somebody because, this is Mars. It is about separation to a certain extent, and not coming to an agreement necessarily on how you're going to split those resources, but maybe this is the opening salvo. This is like, okay, well, how about this? It's getting started. It's the beginning. This isn't the full moon, which is a culmination. This is the beginning. Same with an inheritance. You wouldn't be necessarily inheriting the money at this time, but this might be you've just learned that, you've inherited and, all the processes just starting.
Very interesting to look forward to. And if you are a Pisces rising, this is going to be happening in your ninth house. The ninth house is the house of legal matters as well as publishing, higher education, and it could as well have a lot to do with esoteric subjects. Especially if you're a Pisces rising, because this new moon is happening in Scorpio, and Scorpio is asking you to go deep. So yeah, I could definitely see somebody picking up studying astrology or tarot or any of those esoteric subjects. This is new starts to that higher education.
Yes, very much so. And if you are an Aquarius ascendant, this new moon is happening in your 10th house. The 10th house is the house of career and public reputation. So maybe you're starting something at work at this time. Maybe it's the beginning of a new project. It's also the house of authorities. So this might be a new boss at work. It could be a new job, or it could be something that you're just starting that may bring you some acclaim or reward later down the track, because this is the house of, public recognition and reward as well. So new starts, new beginnings, planting new seeds to do with something to do with authorities, your work, what you do in general. Like if you don't work, but you do this, whatever this is, would be new beginnings to do with that. And I've forgotten what the other one was. Oh, public reward and recognition. Maybe, you're going to do something that's put you before the public, because this is the 10th house. It's very public house. So yeah, it may be something that eventually gets you a little bit more attention than you usually would.
And all of these new moon, for all of these houses, it is a chance to go deep into, what does bring out your art, what does bring out, I think that digging around is something that you'll be experiencing, because Scorpio, the new moon is in Scorpio, and that Mars is just so close, and it's so powerful. So anyway, moving on. If you are a Capricorn rising, this is going to be happening in your 11th house of hopes and dreams. And as I was speaking earlier about, going deep, what does make you happy? This might be a good time to write out a 5-year plan of, what is going to make you happy. What are your dreams? What does your life look like in 5 years? This might be that time to like dig into all of those
Mm.
ideas, but it's your hopes and dreams. It's also groups and organizations. So new things will be starting around your hopes and dreams in your organization. So once you go deep, you'll know what to start.
And if you are Sagittarius ascendant, this new moon is happening in your 12th house. 12th house is the house of our undoing, and it is also places of confinement like prisons or hospitals. It's places of retreat like a monastery, or just going away and secluding yourself, whether that's just, locking yourself away in a room to write a novel, or going on some sort of spiritual retreat, or whatever that may entail. This is a hidden and secret place. It's a place of exile, so you may be far from home. But yeah, new beginnings to do with these topics. So maybe you're planning on working behind the scenes, or taking time out from the hurly-burly of the world to, work on something a little bit more top secret, or that you don't want exposed to the light of day necessarily at this time. You do have Jupiter and Uranus in your 6th house of illness, so good idea to keep an eye on anything that might be detrimental to you, because this is the house of our undoing. This is the house of addictions, self-defeating habits. What's the one you always use, Donna? Escapism.
Escapism, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a great to do that.
Oh, it is. And it's fun, but I suppose, like everything, there needs to be a balance. You can't live your life, in your own little dream world, or whatever state you prefer to be in. But yeah, that Uranus in the 6th house, the 6th house does cover a lot of different things, but amongst others, it is illness. So yeah, maybe not the right time to take up something that's a little bit risky, or that is really not good for you. It's probably not a good time most of the time, but yeah, probably a really bad time for this new moon.
But it is a great time if you are going to like go to a rehab. This is a good time to really delve into what put you there. I mean, why are you, go deep into your psyche and find that out. This might be a great time for those answers.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. And maybe, that's that Uranus in the 6th. Maybe that's the kind of like, oh, yeah, this, X and Y equals Z. And, that's why that happened. Or maybe there's a surprise element to that involved. Because, we will have had Mars oppose that Uranus. And then we've got the new moon happening, and the moon and the sun will both oppose Uranus. So we're in for a bit of a bumpy ride round about the 13th of November. That Uranus is shocking, and it's in opposition. So, and it's hanging out with Jupiter that likes to, big things up. And
You
you
know,
have
I
a
do.
stone for us.
Yeah, I do. This is a very Scorpion stone. This is called Shiva Lingam. This is a stone that is only found in the Normata River. It's very egg-shaped. This has these it can go from um a rust to dark red color on tan or gray color mixed in. This is to be representative of um the cosmic egg or the cosmic fire. And that's where I have a couple of different sizes. But yep, these are Shiva Lingam, and they are good for balancing female male energy. They are good for fertility. They are good for male reproduction. They are good for they're pretty hard. They're like a Mohs hardness of 7, and they are resonate with the earth, wind, water, fire, and storm elements. So this is a pretty powerful stone. It works on all the chakras.
Oh, wow.
And that is the Shiva Lingam. And I will be writing an article on it.
Now, you said it was only in one river, but I didn't recognize,
Yes.
like, where is that river?
It's in Western India. It's at one of the 7 holy places in India
Oh, okay.
where these stones come from. And yeah,
Interesting.
it's one of the 7 holy places. So it's a very divine stone. It asks for divine connection.
Nice.
So if you are wanting to connect with the divine, this is one of the stones you could use.
Nice. Very good.
Because of the location where it's from, that one river, and it is a holy spot, that's why it has that divine energy, is because of that.
Very nice. Well, shall we have a look at the aspects? Well, we were talking about that Uranus being opposite the new moon. So later on, 8 hours later, we have the sun coming up to oppose Uranus, also on the 13th of November. So, this can be, surprising things, obviously, just maybe a little bit shocking, might actually shake you a little bit to the core, because the sun is, essentially us. It's our mind, it's our intelligence, it's the divine spark. It can be our health. So depending on which house it's in, and if you listen to the horoscopes that we did for the different signs, for the ascendant signs, that will give you some idea about this, because this is kind of just moving on from the new moon. This is the sun of that sun moon conjunction moving up and exactly opposing Uranus. So yeah,
The sun opposing Uranus is it's asking you to do something different. It's asking you to look at a situation differently. And if you can do that, and you like embrace the differences that Uranus is bringing into your life, if you can embrace that, it'll go a little bit easier. If you are trying to ignore it or move it out of your life, it can be a little bit more problematic if you are not embracing Uranus. You have to like get the planet's energies into your life, and they work better than if you are trying to ignore them and saying, no, I'm not doing the new stuff. I'm not going to do, whatever whatever the planet is that it is. It's asking you to do new stuff, new things for a reason. It wants you to grow.
Yeah, Uranus does tend to be change, or change will be thrust upon you. This is a
Yeah.
transit, though. So unless it's kind of making contacts with your chart, it may not be that impactful. Yes, things are going to be surprising, a little bit upsetting maybe, but long-term change, maybe not so much, unless you have planets or chart points around about 21 degrees of the fixed signs, which is Scorpio, Taurus, Leo, and Aquarius. Otherwise, maybe not so much.
It'll be out of there in just a couple of days.
Yeah.
So if it is bothering you, it's a time where it just is, it's just for one day, and then the sun moves like 1 degree a day. So it'll be out of orb and within just a few days.
And then a couple of days later, on the 15th of November, we have Mercury sextile Venus, which will be a nice little break. We have Mercury in fun-loving Sag. It's not super strong in this sign. It's in detriment because it's not really focused on, drilling down to the details. It's all about expansion and big picture thinking. It's just a fun sign. Sage is quite fun. Yeah. And then we've got Venus in Libra, a sign that rules. So, yeah, this is really nice. As I said, Mercury's not, not a great time to be doing pure analytical work, but yeah, this is a nice, flirty,
I was just gonna
sociable, fun combination.
I
It's
was
on a
just gonna say
Wednesday.
this is the day if you have a toddler starting to talk, this might be the day where you might hear an I love you. This is a
Oh,
great this is that verbal, and Mercury is verbal and Venus is love, and this is when you might hear those I love yous.
that would be sweet. Though I'm thinking with Mercury in Sag, maybe the word order will be mixed up or something. Love you, I. Yeah, yeah. No, that would be sweet. But this would be a great time for a bit of a get together too. It's a shame it's on a Wednesday, not over the weekend, but still a fun time.
I think it's good no matter what day it happens on. This is going to be it's just
Yeah.
a really nice day. The next aspect is going to be Mars is trining Neptune. This is like fighting, but we're not quite sure what we're fighting for. It's confusion, it's aggression and confusion together. So what does that look like? That can be not knowing what you're fighting for, but it could also be fighting for the wrong cause as well. So
It is a trine, so hopefully it would be nice if this could be used positively, which fighting for a cause would be a great use of that because Neptune can be very idealistic. It is very foggy, though. It can be hard to see where you're going, hard to kind of really know which way's up. So, as Donna said, that can lead to confusion and misdirection of that energy. And with Mars, sometimes that energy can be aggression or war or violence. Yeah, we've also got the sun coming up very close to Mars at this time. Mars is getting ready to start its whole new cycle. So it's interesting that it's trying this Neptune at that time. You know, interesting, maybe, like you were saying about misdirection or not knowing where that's going. Maybe you think, because Mars has a 2-year cycle, maybe you think, well, and not that you'll necessarily know that there's a 2-year cycle and that, oh, what should I do over the next 2 years? But maybe it's a case of like, generally speaking, I think, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to work towards that because Mars is also ambition and drive. And, this is in Scorpio. It's a fixed sign. It's a sign that it rules. That Mars is very powerful. And, you've got the sun tied up with it. The sun's coming up to meet with it, which is, when we're going to have that new cycle. So our identity, is kind of tied up with this. And, it's our divine spark. It's us. So all this is all together with that Neptune. So hopefully it's not a misstep. You might think, oh, I want to do this. And then further down the track, you might think, nah, do I really want to do that? No, it's not what I thought it was. With the outers, we've spoken about this a lot, me and Donna. Sometimes that trine or sextile can just help those outer planets. I kind of think of them messing with some of the other planets. Sometimes they are kind of considered a little bit malefic, or can be malefic, and Neptune can be deception. But look, hopefully something to be inspired by, something to, really get gung-ho about and think, this is what I want to do. This is the direction I want to take. And, hopefully that Neptune can be used to inspire rather than confuse or misdirect.
yeah, with this could also be you know a, a drive to spiritual pursuits as well. With Neptune, you're more sensitive to other people, so you're in a position to lend that leadership quality that Mars can have.
Yeah.
in a positive light. Mars does have leadership. It does have positive qualities.
Oh, it does. I
It it
mean,
it
we
it
need
is, yeah,
courage and bravery, and
right, yeah.
sometimes you need to be able to defend yourself too, or those that you love, or whoever. But yeah, all the planets have their good and their not so good qualities, and Mars and Saturn, I suppose, you know, it's easy to say, oh, they're malefics, but no, they have their good qualities as well, and they're more likely to exhibit their good qualities in signs that they rule, because this is the sign that it's like being in their own home.
Definitely days to watch out for, just to see, how these energies play out. Because the next one's going to be Sun trining Neptune, and I think this is a great aspect to learn the metaphysical stuff. This is, if you want to dive into astrology, this is a great time to start it.
Yeah, on the 17th of November. Very good time to get inspired, to be creative, to be altruistic, to think not just of yourself. That Mars is still close to the sun. The sun's coming up closer to it. The sun trine Neptune. Hopefully it's very positive. On the negative side, it could be maybe deluding yourself a little bit about something and what you're trying to achieve, because it is coming up to that sun is coming up to that Mars. But look, hopefully a nice, altruistic, inspiring day, because sun moves quick. So
I think this is very an inspiring day. I really like it. And then on the next day, November 18th, the sun will conjunct Mars. And this is a day that it's good for physical energy. If you've got something physical to do, this is a good day to start working on anything that's physical. It's with Mars, as Lynda was saying earlier, in the house of, in its own rulership. It wants to do that drive. It wants to do that energy. It has that extra energy. If you don't use that extra energy in a positive road or path, this could be as well a date that you could get hurt. So try to inspire yourself to move purposefully and with good intentions. It should work out well, but do be careful, with that moon mansion. It's telling you to take those protective measures. So don't go bike riding without a helmet. Don't go mountain climbing without ropes.
yeah, well, that's very valid, because Mars can be a little bit rash at times, a little bit hasty. Yeah, this is a new cycle for Mars. Sun coming up to conjoin with Mars is the beginning of a new Mars cycle. It's going to last for about 2 years. It is in the sign of Scorpio, and it's interesting because we've just had this new moon in Scorpio. So wherever Scorpio is in your natal chart, yeah, this is like a really big time. Maybe you were inspired by the new moon, and maybe this is actually, let's start working towards it. And that Mars is in Scorpio. Scorpio's fixed water sign, so it's got the determination and the stick-to-itness. It just can be relentless. Like Mars and Scorpio can just keep going, So this is like, yeah, those new ideas, those new starts, those new beginnings that maybe the new moon inspired. Here's Mars with its whole new cycle, like you said, inspired, because you got the sun illuminating everything. And yeah, this is like bang. Yeah, this could be a really good start. It's just a shame that there is that trine to Neptune that may, for some people, kind of make things a little bit fuzzy. Maybe there'll be a false start for some. But yeah, this is the new 2-year cycle.
Yeah, I was listening to the astrology podcast,
Yeah.
and they were talking about that Mars and the sun have only Mars has started its new synodic cycle in Scorpio only twice last century. So this is pretty significant
Yeah.
for to start that. this new cycle. So it was very interesting. It's an energy that we're used to with Mars in Scorpio, but this is the time that it's meeting up with the sun in Scorpio. So this is pretty significant.
Yeah.
Definitely one to watch for sure.
Yeah, and this may, particularly if you've got planets round about those 25 degrees of the fixed signs, this may be something that, you put a lot of time and energy into over the next 2 years, because that's how long the cycle lasts, until the sun comes up and conjoins Mars again in a different sign.
Not to be outdone by energy, the amount of energy needed, but the sun sextile Pluto, oh gosh, this is asking for, you need to transform, and this is what you're going to do. This is March. It's almost like it's almost like saying, this is the time to move. We've been talking about this for long enough. It's now time to, start getting the wheels turning. It's a sextile, so it should be an easy aspect. It's not a conjunction, but it is an aspect that is trying to get you to move it along, progress your life, clean
Yeah.
out your closet. What isn't serving you, get rid of it. This is the time.
Yeah. And I mean, Pluto's in Capricorn. It's, finishing up its transit in Capricorn. It's been in there since 2008. It we're not completely finished with Capricorn. It is going to move back into Aquarius and then back into Capricorn. But, whatever houses Capricorn and Scorpio are in your natal chart, really handy to know those houses, because, yeah, there might be some personal transformation going forward from that. And this new moon with Mars opposite Uranus, it's, yeah, a lot of stuff is happening. Hopefully, like we spoke about that Neptune, in the case of where it is a misdirect or something, maybe because that sextile can allow Pluto to there may be power plays involved, but look, hopefully for most people, it won't be. Hopefully it will be feeling like this is going to transform things. This is going to make big difference. This is, about depth and honesty, and that's something that Scorpio is very interested in. And yeah, hopefully a positive charge forward type aspect. And it's the sun, so it's going to move quick.
We like that sun moving.
I do.
And on November 21st, the Mars is going to sextile Pluto. This is energy. This is, whatever changes you've been, sniffing in the air and contemplating in your mind. This is the day of action. This is when you can actually clean out that closet. This is the day to do those positive changes. This is good for self-understanding. This is the day for that energy that you need for those changes that you might be coming on. This is not a day. Watch out for stepping on toes, because you could have that aggression. You could want to do the power plays that Pluto is known for. So be careful of that, because Mars will oblige and offer the aggression. But you don't want to do the stepping on toes. It's very easy to do that day.
Mars sextile Pluto could be extremely transformative, particularly through action. Hopefully there's no power plays. It could be a little bit dicey for some. Whatever you wanted to start, the new beginnings to do with whatever house Scorpio is in your natal chart. Hopefully this Pluto transformative power in the house that Capricorn is in your natal chart helps you to focus, maybe, or to dive deep into it, maybe to get consumed or obsessed almost, perhaps, with whatever you're trying to achieve. That would be, I know, the word obsessed doesn't have good connotations, but sometimes to really get a good start on something, you need to kind of dive deep and kind of get a lot done, so you've got that momentum going forward. So maybe that for some people will be how that manifests.
This is definitely a day to journal. Speaking of journaling, every time a planet moves into a new sign, it's a good day to journal. The energy shifts and it might be shifting your way. So, something very good might be happening with this, especially, Jupiter runs this sign. When the sun enters Sagittarius, this is a good day for Jupiter to get more of a say-so in things that are going on.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that at the time Jupiter will be in inversion to the sun, so it won't be able to help as much. But look, when the sun moves into a new sign, whatever house that sign is, in this case, it's Sagittarius, there's going to be more of a focus on the people and topics associated with that house. It's a fun, expansive sign, and it's getting away from that Mars, slowly but surely. It does have Mercury with it, also already in the house of Sagittarius. But Mercury's never far from the sun, either is Venus. They're always usually pretty close to the sun. So, yeah, thinking and planning and lots of focus on the house that has Sagittarius in it in your natal chart.
And then on November 23rd, the sun is going to square Saturn, and that is going to present a challenge. That's a challenge of do I want to do what I'm supposed to do? Or do I want to go have some fun? This is where you're going to have that struggle of that tension of a square is asking you to do an action or make a choice. And this could be a day that you really need to think hard on of, where are my duties in, how much fun can I have in my life? So that's going to be the big challenge of today. It's not going to have a lot of energy as well. So I don't go building your buildings today.
Sun square Saturn can often be just a little bit depressing, a little bit. We recently had that Sun Mars conjunction where we had these big plans. We had that sextile sextile to Pluto. So that obsession and drive and transformation, and here's Saturn. So maybe there's delays, maybe there's setbacks, maybe there's limitations or restrictions. We thought that it's going to be a long haul and we're going to have to do this and do that, but at least we were all going full steam ahead. And maybe this is the first obstacle, and that can be a little bit disappointing. So, but again, the sun, it moves quick, so
Thank goodness the sun moves quick. It moves 1 degree a day, so in 2 days it's not even going to be an issue. So that's the blessing with a sun aspect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then the following day, November 24th, Mars is marching right behind the sun. So Mars is now going to be in Sagittarius. It's leaving its home sign. I think that Mars does well in this sign. I don't think it's not Peregrine, is it? No.
Yeah, it is Peregrine. Yeah, at least initially. It is
Peregrine. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then it's not doing as well. But it's fire. The Mars is the fire, the Jupiter is the fire sign. It does have, I think, some kind of, by element, it's an okay sign. But this is also a day where you should be journaling. Those energies are going to change on, whenever a planet goes into a new sign, you want to journal. You'll have that more energy. Maybe Mars will be more, instead of internal, like the Scorpion energy has, this is going to be more external. So maybe Mars will be more expressed where the group can hear it.
Yeah. This will make 3 signs in Sagittarius: Mars, Sun, and Mercury. So a lot going on in Sagittarius. We started the forecast with a lot going on in Scorpio, but now nothing left in Scorpio. 3 planets in Sagittarius. So, the focus is kind of moving more towards your Sagittarius house now. There's other houses that are involved. You've got Venus in Libra, you've got Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus, you got Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, you got Pluto in Capricorn, but three planets here in Sagittarius. It's a shift. So the people and topics associated with wherever Sagittarius is in your natal chart, there may be more action, more activity going on in this part. Mars can be a little bit aggressive. So you may want to watch for fights with people associated with wherever Sagittarius is in your natal chart, or about topics that are associated with that house. But yeah, look, if you can put Mars to work, make it actually physically exhaust itself, sometimes it works better. Again, it's a bit of a shame that Jupiter's in Taurus, because it can't see its inversion. So it's like Jupiter is like the owner of that house, Sagittarius, and he's got Mercury, Sun, and Mars there, but he can't help them. He doesn't know that they're there, and he can't see them and can't give any assistance, but they'll get by.
And then the next day, Mars will square Saturn. And these are the two malefic planets that are in our universe, and this is a square. So this is going to be a challenge. This is it's asking you to do tension. It's asking you to restrict. It's asking you to, heat up things, but it's definitely a challenging day. And this is going to happen on November 25th.
Yeah, Mars just wants to charge forward. Saturn wants to stop and consider and make sure that you're building something worthy of standing the test of time. And that, yeah, this is a stop-start type of energy. It can be frustrating that Mars is in Sagittarius, so it's ruled by Jupiter, who likes to go big. And ironically, Saturn's in Pisces, which is also ruled by Jupiter. So, but Mars does have the superior position. It is in earlier zodiacal order. It doesn't have any real essential dignity at this time, though. It's not in the sign that it rules. It's not exalted in this sign. It doesn't have any triplicity here. It's not in its term or face. So, look, bit of struggle. It's uncomfortable. You want to move, you keep running into obstacles.
As far as those moon mansions are, it says this is good for strong buildings. This would be a good day to start working on that strong building you're planning on building, with the drive that Mars gives you and the rules that Saturn gives you. If you plan it carefully and you do the proper planning, and if you can use the planets in their higher vibe, like the good qualities of those planets, if you can use the planets in their positive light, it should work out very favorable. You'll have the energy to, you can grab Mars and get that energy to build that building. And if you have Saturn already in line, saying, planning out the how the build is going to go, this could work out favorable in that respect. If you are following the rules, if you are using the physical energy in a positive light, this should work out positively.
No, hopefully. Yeah. I'm just thinking Saturn was retrograde until just recently. It stationed direct around about
today.
The 4th of November. So, Saturn was retrograde for many months, which kind of can sometimes mean like those restrictions and delays and rules and regulations and all that sort of thing can seem, too much. And it might have seemed like, since it's going direct, they've lessened, or, they're more achievable. And, that Mars is raring to go. And then it's like, oh, no, hold on. And that Mars is just like, really? Just throwing up its hands and getting aggressive and not very happy. So, look, but, sometimes you just got to do what needs to be done. And this is one of those days. And then we have the full moon in Gemini on the 27th of November. So at 4 degrees of Gemini, Mercury opposite it. So that's helpful because it can see it and help it. Venus is trine it, which is nice. Jupiter cannot see it because it's in Taurus in the sign next to it. So it's like in its blind spot, but that's okay. It it has Saturn square it, which is a bit icky, and Mars is opposite as well.
What do we have to
Mars,
say about this one?
Mars pretty close to that sun, opposite that full moon, so in Sagittarius. So yeah, maybe a little bit hasty, maybe wanting to get things done pretty quickly. That Mars will have just had that square with Saturn though, so hopefully that will have helped somewhat. And Donna, where can people find you, and what
You can
are you doing?
you can get a hold of me at DonnaBAstrology.com. That's my website. My email is Donna Buyer Consulting at Gmail. Get a hold of me on Facebook. I offer natal readings, year ahead readings, electional, horary. Yeah. And I also do energy support for energy healing. Um, as far as your chakras are concerned. And you can get a hold of me there. And yeah. And Lynda, what are you doing? And where can people get a hold of you?
I'm at Scullywag Astrology. That's astrology.scullywag.com. I offer natal readings, relationship readings, and year ahead readings. So, So thank you everyone for listening and for your likes and your comments and your support. We really appreciate it. And we hope that the new moon is something exciting for you. And yeah.
And happy birthday, Scorpios.
Yes, happy Scorpio season. Donna's a Scorpio, so she will be having her birthday possibly before our next, well, it depends when we record it, of course. Yes. Yes, you'll probably have a birthday before our next one. Yes. Anyway, thank you for listening, and we hope the new moon's nice to you. Thank you.
Thank you.